You're renewing my strength. Through my earthly trials, you're renewing my mind. Even the young will grow tired and weary. Even the strong start to stumble and fall. And my heart starts to ache from the weight of it all. But my hope will remain in you, 'cause you are renewing my strength. Through the time of question, you're renewing my strength. Through the days of confusion, you're renewing my mind. Even the young will grow tired and weary. Even the strong start to stumble and fall. And my heart starts to ache from the weight of it all. But my hope will remain in you, 'cause you are renewing my strength. You're renewing my strength.
The one who hopes in the Father, he will renew their strength. The one who waits on the Father, he will renew their strength. The one who hopes in the Father, he will renew their strength. The one who waits on the Father, he will renew their strength.
He will renew their strength.
He will renew their.
Even the young will grow tired and weary. Even the strong start to stumble and fall. And my heart starts to ache from the weight of it all. But my hope will remain in you, 'cause you are renewing my strength.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you for showing up and listening to us. It's the first time I've been on a mic for 15 years or so. By the way, some of the activities you saw in there, no, I won't be participating in. I'm a little, shall we say, disabled in that respect. So mostly my guts. I don't have the guts to try some of those things, but it's a fun place. So Josh introduced us. Thank you for that. I'm Dwight, Beth, and Philip, and Jake back there. We're experiencing something that maybe some of you have. Never pray a dangerous prayer if you're not ready for the consequences. We found ourselves in a situation where we were given notice to leave our house by September 1, not through any actions of our own, but through the actions of the landlord. He's bringing his daughter back home to the family farm to live there with her husband, and they're going to farm together. Makes complete sense. I have utmost respect for my landlord. Really like him. He's a great guy. Her footprint is in the concrete of the driveway. She's got a footprint about that long out there. If there's anybody that belongs on that farm, she does. So perfectly fine. But we got to find another house again. We're kind of in this habit of moving every few years. So we've had to find another house. I'm finding out that the job that I'm in is not what I expected it to be either. So we started saying, okay, God, what do you got in store for us? Where do you want us? It's a very dangerous thing to say. If you say that in faith, and if you say that meaning it, he will answer. So we heard from, where's Neil? You can't see him. There he is. we heard from Barbie a few weeks ago, and James, about their experience with camp. And I have always liked the idea of being involved in some kind of camp like that, being able to care for the camp and care for the things of the camp. Wonder what's going on with Living Waters Bible Camp. That's where he's been for the last 2.5 weeks. Well, what's going on?
Yeah, that's where I take over. So they'd been praying for 6 months for a facilities director, which just happens to be what he's spent most of his career doing. And we had had friends go up to the camp. We knew a couple that served as summer staff, and so that's why we chose it for Philip as a gap ministry. They are very intentional about their discipleship and leadership, and so he's intending to attend a 9-month course from August to May. But we started looking at this camp just for our own family, having not known about it in the past. And they do homeschool creation days and things that we're really excited about. We just hadn't known about them before. And so in finding out that Philip could go there for this ministry, that he feels God's calling him somewhat into some kind of a ministry role, then we saw that they were needing someone, and we thought, well, what if that's what God wants for us in this season of transition? And just started corresponding with their facilities director. No, he's their facilities director, with the executive director, and really laid out our situation plainly, that we weren't going to have a house for very long, and all these obstacles. Pretty much told him why it wouldn't work. And he came back with all these reasons that not to worry. They've got a house, they've got a place, they've got all these things that God had already been lining up for us without us even knowing. And so it's been really cool to just see God move to put in place the things that we would need and the things that we're passionate about. For a long time, we've been big supporters of Ken Ham's ministry with the Ark and Answers in Genesis, and they team up with the Ark. They do creation seminars at the camp with people that come up from the Ark. And so we've been really excited to get to share in what they're teaching kids there. Their outreach in the community is so amazing that even the public school kids come out to the camp to learn about God, and they've invited the director to come and speak about kindness within the schools and things like that you normally don't see happening, to get an opportunity for all of the kids in that region to know about God. And so we're really excited about the things that they're doing, that we can join in with and participate and help them continue this ministry that they're doing now for 53 years. So, back to you.
I get it back, yeah. Get her started on something she's excited about, and you can't help but notice it's really cool. It's really been cool to watch. I can come up with all kinds of challenges of why this won't work. We can't do this. I'm kind of wired that way. I'm a risk-averse person, so I kind of look at all the risks and, well, what do we do about this? What do we do about that? And God's just answered them one after another, after another, after another. So it's been cool to watch. So when I land up there, once we have our funding raised and so forth, so I'm officially transitioned into the role, I'll be leading their maintenance activities camp-wide. They kind of have two maintenance groups. They've got one for the facilities and one for the programming, and I'm going to be responsible for both of those to kind of try and unify them and steer the ship a little bit for long-range planning and projects and so forth. So that's kind of what I'll be doing. I'll be getting a little more hands-on than I have in the past, I think, which is going to be good for me. Flying a desk is a good way to get old and fat. I've done that marvelously. So I think I can get out there and get in the trenches and actually get hands-on again, which will be helpful for me. I will also be working with volunteers. Are you listening, I hope? We'll be looking for volunteers to come and do projects on the camp. Out of the summer staff, I'll be recruiting people to do maintenance work around the camp. So there'll be maintenance activities and project activities that I'll be working with volunteers on. We're kind of looking at this, in fact, they look at this as an entire family ministry. This isn't just I'm going up there to get a job and I'm going to work and the rest of these folks are going to kind of leisurely wander around admiring the trees. We're all going to be busy. We're all going to have a role to play. That's yet to be seen for some of us. Mine's more defined, but that's the only difference. So it's going to be the kind of involving the entire family. I think you kind of did this part.
Oh, did I do the bottom
Maybe,
part first?
yeah, maybe. That's okay.
Yeah, that's
So-
all right. We can pass it to him.
Yeah, focus, Mike.
Yeah, we do have a lot of fun things at camp as well, besides just serving and projects and stuff. We've got, you saw in the video, a whole bunch of them. We have a climbing wall that is got 3 sides with multiple different challenges that you can climb. A zip line at top once you reach the top. We also have a lot of animals that you can be able to see and encounter, a monkey being one of them, which is kind of cool. We have a lot of sports that we do, basketball, volleyball, stuff like that. They have a cool fort and Conestoga wagons that I actually stayed in during the 3 weeks that I was up there, which was pretty neat. Plenty of games to play, challenges. During the winter, we have a big sledding hill that we do snow tubing in. We've also got access to a lake, I think, for,
There's a different one.
yeah, for boating and kayaking. We also have a big paintball area that you can do. That was really fun when I did that. There's also archery and fishing. And the entire area is just beautiful. It used to be a big farm that they actually created this entire camp off of, and there's just, you're down in a valley, you're surrounded by trees, and it is just a super beautiful setting. And the people there, just the best people I could ever imagine. They're loving, they're generous, they're kind. They're the most hospitable people I think I've ever met, and they're just great. And I was gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, but for what is called Foundation Camp, and it is a camp, probably the most intense camp that they have there. And it's a 2-week camp to where you get to come there and you get to learn ministry skills and serve others in that camp. We had 23 campers this year in that, and there was a lot of things that we did during that strengthened me both physically and spiritually. We had a big cross that we used as a reminder to take Jesus wherever we are, that we always carried wherever we went on the camp. I learned how to read and study God's Word better. Yeah, it was a really long cross, boards that wide, really big cross. So it wasn't something that you could do by yourself. You had to do as a team. And we did a whole bunch of different things. Our motto is not to be served, but to serve. And so we did a whole bunch of different activities and things. We went to the Wisconsin Dells and witnessed on the streets to different people. There's a place called Hiawatha that is a place for international students to come and live and be able to work and learn here in the United States, that we actually went and fed like 500 people, all 23 of us, just serving them with food that we raised support for. And I was kind of in a unique situation that I was one of the only people that hadn't been to Living Waters beforehand attending this foundation camp. So I went in not really knowing anybody, but coming out of it, I know a lot of them and have really good friendships with a lot of them, which is just fantastic. I don't think I could get that very many other places. And then Mom kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'm planning on going to the course called Teleos, which is a 9-month program, more intense, to where I'll actually be living with a ministry family already serving at the camp, and we'll be able to basically learn how to be in ministry of some sort wherever God leads me, kind of build on my skills that I've already seen that I have, and be able to work on the ones that I know I need to work on. And it's just a really, really cool course that I am super glad that they are providing, and that's kind of my plan for this next year anyways, from August to May, and then we'll see where God leads me from there.
So as you can tell, he had a really, really great time. And one of the things I want to emphasize about this with his Foundations Camp and with Teleos and with all the rest of the camps is they are very intentional about spiritual training. This isn't just about going and having fun in a safe place. And oh, by the way, we pray once in a while. This is very intentional, very intensive Bible training, discipleship training, servant leadership training. I've not seen a group of people, I don't think, that really drill down into it as well as they do. It's been very, very refreshing for me to see that. I'm not going to get the whole list of camps that they have, I don't think. I've got a lot of them, but they also have summer kids camps, mother-daughter camps, father-son camps. They have couples camps, family camps. We just had a family camp. One of the things he did was serve as kitty caddy He just went with a family and helped them with their little kids while they were at camp so that they could pay attention to what was going on and know that the kids were cared for. So that was a really cool servant leadership thing. They do mission trips down into Mexico. They do geology trips up into the UP to Houghton, where we just came back from. It's just cool to see the coincidences there. And they will also, this is something I don't know as I've seen a lot of either, is they will do custom camps. If you have a men's group, who needs a retreat, it's 2 hours north of here, so it's not that big of a drive. It's great up there, and they will customize it to whatever you need and you want. If you have a women's group and you want to have a retreat, they'll customize it to what you need. So there's all kinds of possibilities there. This teleos that he's talking about, Dennis Seilers, Dennis is the past executive director. Can't really use the word retired because I don't think that man will ever slow down, but he is consciously and intentionally molding that teleos program to each one of the kids that's in it. So he will look at him specifically, not just him as one of the group, but him specifically, and mold the program to him. So it's really, really cool up there. A couple more videos. I think this should be number 2.
All right, so how I first came to camp. My family has been a big part of camp for generations upon generations. My dad has been a camp director, my grandpa was a camp director, and his great-grandpa and then his father was also part of camp and a piece in building camp. So that's how I came, as a family dynasty, coming to camp, learning about God, and that sort of lineage way. My parents always loved camp, and then I've learned to love camp because of them. I've been to one other camp, and this camp far surpasses that camp.
Do you recall how many years you have been a camper at camp?
11 years by myself, and then a couple years by kids camp and family camp, and also father-son and stuff like that. One of my favorite moments, it was a very spiritual building moment for me. I was in a dorm I believe my first year in Boy Scout, and our dorm leader, Stephen Luck, had challenged our dorm that night, telling us to, if you had any thoughts about knowing God or about wanting a deeper relationship and a personal relationship with the Lord and Savior, to come and talk to him once before we decided to go to bed. So I went and I gave my life over to Christ again. I'd already done it earlier, but I was at a young age and I didn't know exactly all the ins and outs of what I needed to know and how much God had done for me. So Stephen led me through that, and he did it so amazing that 4 other guys that same night also gave their lives to Christ. That's a powerful moment for me. Another moment for me was not a funny moment. One of my favorite moments is me and this is my second year of high school camp, and my dorm had built a cardboard box boat, and it was not supposed to float. It was horribly designed, poorly crafted, in a minimalistic amount of time, but it sailed farther than any other boat, and I was so proud of our little boat. And that's also a great moment. Camp has impacted my life in some seriously powerful ways. As far as friends and encouragement goes, far more than any other relationship I could find on my own. Deeper relationships that mean more. Spiritually, camp has been my rock. Camp is a place you can go where you become challenged and you can grow exponentially in different ways, in service, evangelizing, in your own personal walk with God. It's a beautiful way that camp does that so cleanly in such a digestible way for everyone can understand it. So yeah, dramatically I'd say. I would describe camp as a place where you can build lifelong friendships and have more fun here than any other camp out there.
And 3.
Hi, we're Mike and Renee Melcher. I've been coming to Living Waters since I was about 3 months old. We came as a staff kid back then, came up as a camper from 3rd through high school camp, went through foundation camp and served as a dorm leader for many years. Now we're directing Kids Camp 2. We've done that for the last 7 years, and I've also been a board member for the last 13 years. So we've had a lot of time here at camp throughout our years, throughout our 38 years, or my 38 years, and so we've had a lot of great experiences here at Living Waters.
I have also been coming since I was about 2 or 3 as a staff kid, and then started coming as a camper for 3rd grader and went through all the way for high school, then did the foundation camp with dishwashing and dorm leading at camps as well. I did a couple summers of full-time staff, and yeah, now we're directing at camp, and we've just been involved in a lot of different ways at camp. So now our kids are coming to camp as they came as staff kids, and now they're starting as campers as well. So as long as we've been coming to camp, we've obviously made a lot of friends and relationships during camp. Mike and I met during our high school years at camp and grew up in a similar group of friends. And then we dated for a couple of years and got married in 2005. A lot of the friends, our close friends, are still our dear friends today who are here serving with us. We're raising our kids together with them. Many of them were in our wedding party. So they're here helping us at camp, and we're just doing life along with them, raising our families, and hoping our kids will enjoy this and want to do this as they grow older too.
And the cool thing about Living Waters is that you get to serve with so many different people of all ages, right? So we've built relationships with those that are older than us. We've built so many, as Renee talked about, that are our age. We've built many that are younger than us as well, and so that's just a cool thing that a cool opportunity that you have at Living Waters. You get to serve with so many different people, so many different age groups of people, and so that's been really cool just to meet those kinds of people. And even on as we're directing and as I'm on the board, there's so many men that I've served with on the board that I've really just been encouraged by and learned to grow in so many ways by some of those relationships as well. So one other thing that we just really have learned to appreciate here at Living Waters is just the opportunity to serve as a family. So having come to Living Waters at such an young age, that's what I learned and grew up with, is that we serve together as a family here at Living Waters. And so we came when I was young, again, as a staff kid. You come and you learn to appreciate the fact that you're here together as a family. You have opportunities to serve together. My grandparents are still serving here well into their 80s. My parents are still active here as well, very much so. So that's an important piece that we're trying to instill into our kids now that they're camper age and as they continue to grow over the years. And so that we're really looking forward to continue that legacy of service here at Living Waters, and we so appreciate the opportunity to do that here. So.
Okay, thanks for sticking with us. These videos really tell the story for me. I'm kind of driven for that. I did want to give you some nitty-gritty information. The camp is a member of the Christian Camp and Conference Association, and they are members of the, I'm gonna stumble on this one, Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability. I got it out. So if you are concerned at all about the way they manage their affairs, as you heard him talk about, they have a board. It's a long-standing board, and they have financial advisors that work with them, and they are a part of this Council for Accountability, which I thought was important. The way they go about funding their positions is similar to what James and Barbie explained to us, where there is a certain percentage, 75% of our salary needs to be raised before we can officially begin our position. A lot of camps did that in response to COVID. If you think about it for a little bit, if the camp shuts down because of COVID and there's no camper income, what income is there to keep it alive and functioning? I don't know that they ever completely shut down. I don't think they ever did. But their financial advisors said this would be a model you need to adopt. So they are in the same model as the other camp that you heard about, where we raise funds to cover the costs of our salary. We don't like to look at it as you're going to support me in my role. This is your opportunity to see what God's doing with that camp and support it. And then in turn, that supports us and our ability to serve that camp. So it's a vertical relationship, not horizontal. So I just wanted to get that off my chest, I guess, that this is not about me asking you to support me. I don't want it that way. I don't think that's healthy. It's about you participating in something God's doing, and God uses me to make things happen on the camp. So our ask of you today, obviously the first thing is to pray over us. Pray for our safety, for our sanity, for our ambition. We just spent the last week up there in a marathon session of fixing up the house, getting it ready to move into. We're very tired. I'm very tired. I think we are very tired. But it was very satisfying to get the work done, and it's pretty much ready. We can move in now. And we're going to have to move before we are actually officially a part of the camp. So there's going to be a gap period there where that's the prayer part. If you could pray us through that gap period. Pray over Living Waters Bible Camp. There's not very many people out there that have the gumption to speak truth anymore. We are a church that's blessed with that here, and it's a camp that's blessed with that up there. But I think it's getting more and more important as time goes on to support ministries that will actually speak truth and not be dancing around all of the current woke subjects that we get to dance around sometimes. God's truth has always been God's truth. It'll always be God's truth, and it needs to be said. It needs to be taught. These kids come in there, and they come from all different kinds of backgrounds, and they need that truth. They need that teaching. So consider joining us. We have, as we said, we can do custom camps. Consider coming up there. It's only 2 hours north. It's a fairly decent drive up 61. You just get on, cross the bridge into Wisconsin, go up 61. When you come through Westby, you're almost there. So it's real easy to get there. Consider joining us if you want to volunteer. There's all kinds of work to be done on the camp. Always work to be done on the camp. So we've always got tasks that could be done. And we'd also ask you to pray and consider giving funds to the camp to offset our salary so that we can get to our 75% funding as soon as possible and get rolling. I'm feeling the antsiness that I need to get up there, I need to get moved in, I need to get engaged, and that's the only real hurdle in my way right now. I don't know if I want to get into all the details of the job situation, but I am, I think, able to work temporarily from remote up there in my current position, but I don't know that yet. So I'm not sure how that's all going to work out yet. We'd love to meet with you. If you have questions or anything, there's a sign-up. There's always a sign-up sheet. There's 2 clipboards, so 2 people can be on it at once. There's a place there to give us your name and address and all that, and email and phone number, and you can tell us how you want it to be updated on what's going on. And if you want to meet one-to-one to talk about supporting us, we'd be tickled to death to do that. Just check the box on there, and we'll set that up. So if anything you can do, praying all the way down to writing checks is very, very much appreciated. We really appreciate the support. So, any questions? Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the location, like between Madison and the Dells. Is it somewhere like?
So it's closer to La Crosse.
So it's beyond like the Dells.
So the Dells would be more central Wisconsin. We're more on the western central aspect. So if you know Boscobel, that's about halfway there. And if you kind of keep going, it's on the Kickapoo River. Yeah, about 2 hours from Dubuque area, so it's a little bit more from here. But yeah, it's a beautiful drive. You'll go up through Amish country. There's lots of quilting stuff and farmers markets and just a beautiful drive. There's a lot of world-class fishing in that area for trout, and so I think they get a fair number of touristers in that area, but it's very peaceful, very quiet, and yeah, the drive isn't bad. We've gone to Des Moines and back so many times. This is a walk in the park compared to going to Des Moines. So it's a much more leisurely drive as long as you watch out for the Amish buggies and the deer. There's more deer in Wisconsin than there are people, so keep that in mind.
At this point, I think the answer is mostly no. They want you to be fully funded before you're officially, I am officially their facilities director. They've made that determination. But the indication I'm getting from the executive director is that they want you to be fully laced in before you actually start working. Now, that being said, if there's work that needs done and I show up with a tool belt, I don't think they're going to send me away. It's just I can't really engage in the leadership role until I'm officially in that. So, and if it works out that I can work temporarily, I'll be busy online. I sit at a computer for 90% of what I do anyway. I can sit at that computer pretty much anywhere on the planet and do what I do for Conlon. So, yeah.
So how many weeks do they have their, like, their basic summer camp for kids, and how many kids on average do they have a week? I mean, I'm thinking
They run the summer camps all summer.
The main summer camps run from mid-June to mid-August. And I know they'll get groups up to 100 kids at a time through the course of the whole year. I'm not sure what their total number of kids served would be, but it's over 1,000 kids in a season for sure. And then come winter, there's a winter retreat that goes over the gap of, they've split it into two for age groups, but it's during the Christmas break. And then there's father, son, mother, daughter. So they're year round, but our most intense months are June to August.
so basically you're cooking for about 150 people. I cook, that's what I do.
Oh, that's great to know, because
It would be at
at least, because you're also feeding the summer staff and any of the workers that are helping with it. And that's possibly what my role will be eventually, after we get kind of settled in and find the rhythm of working down there. I intend to help in the kitchen a lot. They need a kitchen assistant manager. That one's a little bit more of a role than I'm maybe ready for quite yet, since I haven't served in a camp kitchen before. But I've certainly cooked for 75 kids at youth group and other things. So yeah, looking forward to just getting on the ground and serving. Jake's looking forward to being their table washer and silverware setter and all those kind of things that he can serve together. They're really good about that, where even down to like kids shorter than your knees are out there helping. And it's just neat to see the families work together and see kids that are willing to serve. And I haven't seen one unhappy person serving at camp. All the time we've been there, everybody is happy and excited and willing to serve, because the whole emphasis is on, if the people stay small and humble, then God stays big and magnified. And so they're really good about just teaching kids to work for the sake of serving God and not for what you're getting out of it so much as what you're able to give. And you can see it on their faces that everybody's just happy to be there. And I'm sure there's going to be days where you're like, this isn't going well. They had a whole sewage problem a couple months ago that they had to work on. If you noticed in the zipline video that it looked quite flat and muddy, they had a dam break a couple of years ago that flooded the camp, and they had a whole lot of cleanup, and they had to put in a new, what's the name for?
I'm not sure what the
It's
name
not
is. It's
a swale.
causeway. They had to-
So it's more of a cement retaining that you drive through instead of having a bridge that can get jammed and break again. And so they get the community, and everybody just comes. It's really cool to see how the community surrounds them. There's a lot of connection with the Emmaus College. A lot of their families come over and both serve and participate in the camps. So it's cool to see God's community come around them when they have a need. It's just like out of nowhere, everybody shows up and they get things done. So it's kind of cool to watch that work.
Is there a denominational affiliation or certain church or churches that are highly vested in the leadership or the board or whatever?
I'm really glad you asked that. Gives me an opportunity to explain something I've never seen before. The correct answer is no, there's not a denomination that they're directly tied to. They are pretty conscious about non-denominational leadership. However, there's a couple of churches up there that the leadership attend and are parts of. The one that's closest there in Westby is a Brethren Church, and the one down in Viroqua that the rest of the leaders go to is an E-Free Church. We were visiting, we went there the first time we visited, and we went to the church that the executive director goes to, which is the Brethren Church. And he said, he wanted to know what we thought of it and so forth. And then he said, well, you really ought to go down and try the E-Free Church down in Viroqua too, and just see if that's a better fit for you. I had never experienced a pastor, a leader, an executive director, or whatever, saying, go try the competition. They don't view themselves as competitors. That's what's so cool about that, is they don't view themselves as competitors. The church is there. There's a third church that gets involved.
Yeah,
I can't remember who they are now. It's another Grace Church, I think. Everybody calls themselves Grace Church up there. But there's like 3 churches that get together, and they'll share resources to do youth groups and Awanas and stuff like that. They're not the same denomination. They're different, persuasions, but they share that common goal of getting something out there for the kids. I really, really, really found that refreshing. You don't see that very often. So.
I'm just a little curious, like, for the kids camps, we used to, in the beginning of the church, encourage kids to go to camp all the time, and our kids grew up going to camp, and then it just got so expensive that it's like, this is hard to even present with parents, even with the church helping the possibility of going to camp. So I'm curious, like, what the cost is, like a child, or if they have family breaks, or how that works.
Yes, so the website will have all the costs shown clearly there, and that's one of the reasons that they have us be fundraise supported, is because it keeps the costs low. And so I think for a week of kids camp, and don't quote me, but I think it's under $300, which is considerably less than where the kids had gone to summer last year in Wisconsin. And yeah, they provide, all the meals and everything for that. They're also able to tailor their meals to allergens and dietary needs. That's one of the things that they work really hard on, is to make it possible for kids that might have some allergy concerns. So yeah, they're trying to keep the cost low because they want kids to come. And I think they've had to even add weeks of camps because they've been booking solid and filling up. They've been trying to add additional weeks to get more kids there than what they had. So yeah, they're very intentional about that, because I was shocked when we started sending the kids to camp how expensive it was. And so they know that. They also provide scholarships and things like that. But yeah, they're conscious of keeping that cost down. Yeah, it's wonderful. Rick?
Is the website also a place to see the doctrinal statement?
Yes.
Yes, and we have a few printed out at the back by the table too. It's a very complete doctrinal statement. They go quite in depth and quite clear. It's one of the best that I've ever read anywhere. That was the reason why we chose it for where he would spend a ministry gap year, because we read through all their doctrinal statement. It was just like, wow, they're not afraid to really speak the truth clearly on all the challenging issues that are going on in the world today, where churches might be vague to not discourage someone from coming. They're very clear on all those things, and it was encouraging to us to see a church camp that was that committed to the truth. So that was one of the main reasons we were excited about him attending.
And we've got some printed copies out there if you
Yeah.
want to grab one. I think they're not on the table yet, but
No, I ran out of room on the table, but we've got them with us if you want one.
anybody else? Thank you so much for listening to us, for hearing us out. It's been so exciting for us. I've been telling people it's exciting and terrifying all at once. And I still have my moments of terror because my faith is weak. I'll just tell you that. My faith is weak. I've had to grow a lot. And that's what God's doing with me through this is, I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. Time and time again. That's all I've heard. I've got this. So thank you very much for listening and hearing us out.
All right, thanks so much for sharing, and they're going to be sharing during the service for a few minutes as well, so let's go ahead and take a break, and if you need to go to the bathroom or go for a short jog, and we don't have a zip line, I'm sorry, but yeah, we'll come back at 10:15, so thanks.